Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Politics. I'm Olumide Macaulay. Coming up in today's program, River State politics and other stories. But first, we'll bring you the address by the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, also the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, who spoke on the latest developments surrounding the presidential election, which is still going on. That is his speech to the public concerning the election outcome and the decision of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and the Supreme Court judgment that upheld the victory of President Bola Tinubu in the February 25th presidential election.
That will prevent any court or tribunal from hiding behind technicalities and legal sophistry to affirm electoral haste and undermine the will of the people. Our democracy must mean something. It must be substantive. Above all, it must be expressed through free, fair, and transparent elections that respect the will of the people. Firstly, we must make electoral voting and collation. Members of our National Assembly here present, we must make electronic voting and collation of results mandatory. We don't want to see any human being handling our results, whether at the polling units, at the ward, at the local government, we should all be able to stay in our homes and look at the television as the television is putting our results. This is the 21st century, and countries less advanced than Nigeria are doing so already. It is only bold initiatives that transform societies. Secondly, our members of the National Assembly, we must provide that all litigation arising from a disputed elections must be concluded before inauguration of the winner. Please, I beg of you. This was the case in 1979. I don't know how we came to this present situation. The current time frame between elections and inauguration of winners is adequate to dispense with all election litigations. What we have currently is akin to asking thieves to keep their loot and use the same to defend themselves while the case of their robbery is being decided. It only encourages mandate and banditry rather than discourage it. Thirdly, in order to ensure popular mandate and real representation, we must move to require a candidate for president to earn 50% plus one of the valid vote cast, failing which a runoff between the top two candidates will be held. Most countries that elect their presidents use this two-round tier system with slight variations rather than our current fast-past-the-post system. Examples include France, Finland, Australia, Bulgaria, Portugal, Poland, Turkey, and Brazil, Argentina, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Namibia, Mozambique, Madagascar, and even Liberia, where a runoff is expected to hold in the coming days. Fourthly, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in order to reduce the desperation of incumbents and distractions from governing, and also to promote equity and national unity, we need to move to a single 6-year term for president to be rotated among the 6 geopolitical zones. This will prevent the ganging up of 2 or more geopolitical zones to alternate the presidency among themselves to the exclusion of other zones. INEC should be mandated to verify the credentials submitted to it by candidates and their parties, and where it is unable to do so, perhaps because the institutions involved did not respond in time. It must publicly state so and have it on record. A situation where a candidate submits contradictory credentials to INEC in different election circles and the electoral umpire accepts them without caution points to gross negligence, at best, or collusion to break the law by the leadership of INEC at worst. The submission of contradictory qualifying documents by a candidate, as well as those found to be forged or falsified, should disqualify a candidate even if the falsification or forgery is discovered after the person had been sworn into office. The burden of proving that a document submitted to INEC is forged should not be on the opposing candidates in the election. It is never the responsibility of an applicant for a job to prove that the person who eventually got the job did so with forged documents, but rather the employer. In addition to these proposed constitutional amendments, the Electoral Act should be amended to provide that except where they explicitly violate the Constitution and other laws, the rules and procedures laid down by the electoral umpire and made public for the benefit of contestants and the voters will be treated as sacrosanct by the courts in deciding on election disputes. A referee cannot be allowed to set the rules for the game only to change or ignore them when one side has scored a goal or is about to win the match. Certainly not. We must restore confidence in our electoral system, which the current leadership of INEC has completely eroded and undermined. Also, we need well thought out provisions in the legislation and regulations to reform the judiciary, including 1, the introduction of an automated case assignment system, transparency in the appointment of judges, a practice directory that stresses that the goal of judges in election cases should be to discover and affirm voters' choice rather than disregarding voters' choice for the sake of technicalities. No, sir. There should also be publicly available annual evaluation of the performance of judges using agreed criteria. By improving the transparency of the electoral process and reducing the incentives to cheat, in addition to transparency in the appointment of judges and other judicial reforms, the number of election petitions, as well as corruption in the judiciary, will be significantly reduced. More importantly, we would have succeeded in taking away the right to elect leaders from the courts and return it to the voters, to who it truly belongs. Gentlemen of the press, Your Excellencies, distinguished senators and members of House of Representatives, particularly members of the National Working Committee, I want to thank you for holding the fort so far as the party is concerned. I know there have been so many concerns and worries about the direction, the strength of the party. I want to assure that the party remains the strongest, remains formidable, remains the best political party in this country. In life, we sometimes face challenges and disappointments, but that should not deter us from pursuing the overall objective of our great party, the PDP. I therefore want to appeal to all members here and elsewhere to have faith and confidence in this great party there has never been a great party like this in this country. So you truly belong to the greatest party in Nigeria and in Africa. God bless you all.
PDP! Power to the people! A round of applause for the people's president. Indeed, bandits they are, mandate bandits. An intentional selection by the electoral umpire and coronation by the judiciary. We all listen to the people's president and his recommendations for reforms. We cannot be happier than we are now. Our leader also says to us he's not going away. He remains one of the backbones of the People's Democratic Party. We are happy. We are not deterred. The acting chairman, national chairman, told us that, the people's president told us that there's no party like PDP. The only organized party. Please let's...
You're watching Lunchtime Politics. Thank you for staying with us. And we started the program with the live broadcast of the press briefing given by the former Vice President of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, on his views concerning the outcome of the Supreme Court judgment on the presidential election, as well as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal judgment. He spoke on a few issues, including his views on the electronic transmission of results and the simultaneous uploading of the same, as that should be the sacrosanct procedure going forward. He also propounded for constitutional amendments that will make for a 6-year term for the presidency, that allow as well for rotation across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country of the same. That's Vice President Atiku, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party. Now to matters arising in the south of the country and in River State, where right now, following reports of plans by some members of the State House of Assembly to impeach the state governor, Mr. Similayi Fubara. The lawmakers had assembled early this morning for an emergency sitting at the House auditorium to impeach the governor, who is accused of gross misconduct. 24 members signed the notice of impeachment on the governor, whom the lawmakers accuse of poor performance. The Speaker, Mr. Martins Ameule, asked that the notice of impeachment be forwarded to the governor and allow the legal process to take its course. Now, before the impeachment process on the governor, 23 lawmakers had suspended the majority leader, Honorable Edison Ehie, in River State. Honorable Ehie is accused of supervising the burning of the hallowed chambers that occurred Sunday night. On the agenda of the emergency sitting was the removal of some members, namely Mr. Edson, Mr. Solaris, Mr. Adolphus, Mr. Nwoke, and Mr. Jumbo.
This is really sad that at this point in time, when democracies all over the world are doing all that is necessary to engender peaceful coexistence of people in various nations, at a time when other states are making progress, trying to make life better for people of their states. Sadly here, we see a situation where the legislature is being attacked and not allowed to perform. We cannot really understand why our own chambers will be burnt down because somebody does not want this arm of government to survive or to function. This is sad. This is a sad day for River State, and we know that security agencies will certainly do what is necessary to arrest all those who brought this bad news to River State. Edison Ehie and all those who sponsored him, who do not want this arm of government to do their job in line with the Constitution, should be held accountable for what they have done. But we remain undaunted. We will do what we need to do because we have been empowered by the Constitution. We have been empowered by the Constitution, and we will not relent we will not shy away from our constitutional duties. Those that voted in favor of the removal of Edison Ehi as the majority leader of this House, 23, abstention nil, against nil. By that result, Edison Ehi is now removed as the majority leader of the Rivers State House of Assembly in line with our standing orders.
But the state governor, Mr. Simlai Fubara, has been reacting to his planned impeachment by the lawmakers. The governor, while addressing his supporters, says he's not afraid of being impeached and insisted that due process must be followed. The governor vowed to resist what he calls unjust impeachment process. Governor Fubara also accused the police of shooting at him on his way to inspect the State House of Assembly complex that was gutted by fire last night. The Rivers State governor named a senior officer in the State Police Command as the leader of the team that was deployed to obstruct his access to the complex. Governor Similai Fubara stated this while addressing a crowd of supporters at the Government House entry gate. He challenged the Assembly lawmakers and others to state clearly his offense.
We wake up this morning with a very troubling news. We have gone to the Assembly to see for ourselves what has happened. On my way there, I was shot at directly by the OC operation, or DC, or whatever they call him. Directly, it's not, but it doesn't matter. Somebody will die, one way or the other. Either you die inside your house, or you die on the road by something. But, so my journey today is, whatever it is that wants to happen, let it happen. If Simnalai Fubara is impeached, I am not the first, neither will I be the last. Hold on. I'm saying if it happens. But what is important is any attempt that is not justified will be resisted. Let them come out. And tell Rivers people, that offense that is what I want. Come out and tell the people of Rivers State that offense that Fubara committed that is warranting impeachment. So that my happiness this morning is the people of Rivers State, represented by every one of you here, is with us. I can go home and sleep. Let me assure you people that we will continue to defend you people. We will protect you people. And you will enjoy the dividend of democracy.
Now let's take you live to Port Harcourt, the River State capital, where our correspondent Charles Opurum is standing by to give us an update on the situation in the state. Charles, can you catch us up to speed with what's happening at the moment? We heard the governor, Similai Fubara, speak just now. That was earlier in the day. What's happening now? Is he impeached? And what is the current security situation in River State?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. That was the governor speaking earlier today, surrounded by youth. Some of them were waving flags, chanting solidarity songs with him, you know. And I think I saw the flag of the Joy Youth Congress because I asked someone, what flag is that? And he said it's the Joy Youth Congress flag. So they are identifying with their son, who is the governor. Yeah, right now I'm standing on Moscow Road, though I have walked down a bit. Now, I'm sure everybody understands what happened earlier today when the House tried to impeach the governor and of course, removed the House leader, Right Honorable Edison Ehe, from his position as leader, and of course suspended him alongside 3 other lawmakers who they believe are loyal to the governor. Now, the allegations leveled against the House leader, remember there were 3 items brought up at plenary today. Plenary did not hold at the usual venue, which is the Harlow Chamber, because it was burned down yesterday, last night at about a little past 10 p.m. When we got that information. So plenary held at the auditorium, which is separate from the Harlow Chamber. So that has to be established, right? However, during plenary, the speaker he expressly mentioned the name of Edison Ehe and said Edison Ehe is responsible for the burning of the Harlow Chambers. And he said, he supervised the burning of the Harlow Chambers. He leveled the accusation against Edison and said he supervised the burning of the Harlow Chambers on the instruction of the Rivers State government. I'm putting the speaker, Right Honorable Martin Zami now verbatim. So 3 items that were brought on the floor of the House today. One was the removal of Right Honorable Edison Ehe from his position as majority leader. 2 was for the suspension of Right Honorable Edison Ehe and 3 other members of the House, from their positions, to suspend them. And then 3 was motion for the impeachment of the governor. And it's of note to state that these 3 items were actually, carried out on the floor of the House today by 24 members. Recall that the Rivers State House of Assembly is made up of 32 members. So that means 8 members were not present at plenary. But the 3 items actually went through. When they were just about, wrapping up the commencement of impeachment proceedings against the governor of the House, that was when we started hearing gunshots outside, tear gas, and of course the use of water cannons to disperse people, and the House members, the lawmakers, they had to flee, in haste so as not to be affected by whatever it was that was happening. I myself, I even inhaled a little bit of tear gas, but I did retreat to a safe distance from which I continued to observe what was happening.
Sorry about the tear gas that you inhaled. We hope that you're okay. You just mentioned as well that there were gunshots at that area, location where the lawmakers sat for the process to remove the governor, to remove the leader of the House. So the leader of the House stands removed, but the governor remains the governor. Because according to you, there were gunshots that caused the dispersal of the lawmakers that wanted to do that, correct?
No. The process of impeaching a governor is not a one-day process. All right, it's not a one-day process. They started the process today to serve a notice of impeachment of the governor, and they went ahead with it. All right, they went ahead with it. It was not truncated by what happened outside. Now, what happened outside actually necessitated a hastening of the process. When the process actually went the full round. It actually finished. It was not truncated in the middle. It actually went the full round. So yes, they have started the process of impeachment against the governor.
What can you tell us about the arson that occurred at the Harlow Chambers yesterday? I imagine that you've heard maybe from the police, or the police are investigating that particular incident?
So the statement from the Rivers State Police Command, as sent to us by the PPRO, SP Grace Iringe Koko, is that, quote unquote, the police are aware of what happened at the Rivers State House of Assembly and are investigating. This was the statement she sent on WhatsApp. Okay, so apart from that, they are remaining tight-lipped. But it's actually very fascinating because the Rivers State House of Assembly is barely 20 meters from the headquarters of the Rivers State Police Command. And when I say 20 meters, I mean the Rivers State House of Assembly complex is on this side of the road. Then the police headquarters is on this side of the road. Just between them is the Court of Appeal. It's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily. You don't necessarily need to travel a distance from the police headquarters to the House of Assembly. And the area, the street itself, was cordoned off by.
Okay, thank you. As our correspondent Charles Opurum giving us details of the arson that occurred, the burning of the Harlow Chambers in Rivers State yesterday. Charles Opurum was reporting from Port Harcourt in Rivers State. Now, the Nigeria Labour Congress is threatening not to go ahead with today's planned meeting with the federal government if the Minister of Labour, Samuel Along, is part of the government delegation. NLC President Joe Ajero, who gave the NLC position while briefing journalists in Abuja today, says the Congress is taking such stance because the minister has not demonstrated enough commitment for the plight of workers. The NLC president also threatened to begin statewide protests across Imo State beginning from November the 1st, 2023, over what it describes as the violations of the rights of workers. Now, finally, more reactions have been greeting the judgment of the case between the federal government and the P&ID, where a London court has turned down a demand for Nigeria to pay $11 billion in fine. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the latest to react, is hailing the judgment, which he described as worth the struggle. Mr. Buhari, who was the president in the heat of the legal battle, in a statement says Nigeria was a victim of the monstrous fraud and was at the verge of losing $15 billion. His statement posted on his X account reads, in part, quote, "Had Nigeria lost, it will have required schools not to be rebuilt, nurses not to be trained, and roads not to be repaired on an epic scale, to pay a handful of contractors, lawyers and their allies for a project that never broke ground." The former president also described the case as an attempted theft of historic proportions. He made a case for transparency, lamenting how much the country loses when fraudulent contractors sue the country and claim damages. According to former President Buhari, we need better contracts in the public and private sectors, and we need greater transparency. The reality is that had P&ID not conjured up quite such an outlandish ransom, they may have found themselves in the same place as the myriad of other invisible contractors who are all too often quietly take Nigeria for many millions in out-of-court settlements. He preferred stern sanctions for Nigeria's public officials who've been proven to connive with foreign criminals to defraud the country. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. I'm Olumide Macaulay. Thank you for watching.